Hey man,
I said, how are you?
um, mixed emotions. Well, one because my team lost, and also the IPL has actually come to an end. So, but before we get to that, let's just get to the playoffs. The first one was Chennai versus Daredevils. Chennai won it, but I felt Daredevils have themselves to blame in the sense that they lacked killer instinct. What are your thoughts?
Definitely. You look at a side like Chennai, CSK, they're very experienced in knockout games. But
Hmm.
I thought Delhi had a good chance in this game. Like you said, the bat at first, they put on 172, which I thought was a decent total in Dubai. And, for a large part of the game, towards the middle overs, I thought Delhi were in with a chance. And it was only towards the end that the finisher himself, MSD, came in and got those runs and got it quite effortlessly in as well. But Rishabh Pant, I thought his bowling changes towards the end really questionable, especially
Hmm.
bowling Sam Curran in the final over. I know Sam Curran. We always talk about him as a dead bowler, but he hasn't proved it. He hasn't proved it. So I thought that was a big gamble putting him to bowl that last over, and yeah, ultimately it didn't work out on the day. So look, Delhi played well in that game, but I think it was one that got away from them.
Hmm. Yeah, man. I feel that they'll need to improve on their killer instinct in the next season. Okay, so we get to the next one. My team against your team on your favorite pitch, Charger. Yeah, man. It's funny. I know we were like very pro our teams, but because my team played majority of the game, I think in Charger, I think it kind of like favored them, and I think it did prove. But damn, those matches are too close for comfort, eh? You can never feel that you end, even if you have great partnerships. One of the frustrating things batting a charger.
I know you're talking about favorite pitches, but that's probably my least favorite
I was
wicket.
being, I was being, I was being
Sharjah. That
sarcastic.
that's
I was being sarcastic. I
very
know, I know.
uh,
I'm being sarcastic.
very.
I know you hate Charger. I
Look,
know you hate it. I
look.
mean, you used to like it when it was batsman friendly, but damn, it's been so radically different.
Yeah, I mean, Sharjah has been one of those strange pitches in the IPL. I'll tell you that. Look, it's given up a lot of drama, but probably not the best quality of
Hmm.
cricket that you've seen.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think the game, it wasn't the best quality game of cricket.
Hmm. Hmm.
There were a lot of errors, I would say.
Hmm.
But I mean, I mean, setting a score of 137. I guess
Hmm.
it's not the easiest pitch, and then Kohli took a decision to bat first, which I thought was a brave call in a way, because he probably could have put KKR in there and
Hmm. Hmm.
let his
Hmm.
bowlers do their thing, but
Yeah.
he made the brave batting first,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
also uh, it proved to be a difficult surface, and nobody actually really got in there, and there was no
Yeah.
anyone. There was. I mean, besides Kohli, is 33. Anything
Hmm.
substantial, and it's a sort of IPL where the senior players are actually not stepping up. The senior players
Hmm.
are like fully out of form, and we saw this as well with AB in this game here, where I mean him being a senior player in the side, but he hasn't played much cricket in the last 6 months. I mean,
Hmm.
ever since the IPL has gone on that interval, it's been no cricket from AB, and he's come back
Hmm.
and he's come into the IPL a bit undercooked, and it proved to be the case on a difficult wicket in Sharjah, and nobody
Yeah.
really got going, and I think Narayan, uh, full credit to him, he had an excellent game with the ball. I
Hmm.
mean, 4 for 21 in four, superb.
Hmm.
But then that chase, my oh my! I mean, we talk about KKR, and look, the youngsters are doing it this season, especially this sort of second half
Mm.
season of the season they had, where they actually,
Mm.
come out of nowhere and got that
Mm.
winning run going. It's all down to
Yeah.
the youngsters. I mean,
Mm.
uh,
Yeah.
what was it? 48-1 in the power play,
Yeah.
they look to be cruising. And
Mm.
then
Mm.
I went out. You had Narayan come in
Mm.
and he played a few shots, and then that one over of Christian that went for 22 that probably took the game away
Yeah.
from RCB, but after his dismissal, things went pear-shaped again, and RCB
Mm.
got back into the game, and eventually it was 7 of 6 in the final over. Anything was possible, but
Yeah.
uh, Shakib just held his nerve and got. But it was quite a nervy chase for the most towards the latter end.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. I think on that sort of. I think the start that y'all had. I think y'all should have made 150 at least because y'all did have a good foundation. So I think it's just one of those things to take for next season. Well, hopefully the IPL is mainly in India, then we won't have to have these sorts of you know permutations in our heads. But I think the next playoff is Daredevil against my team. I know that we were having our favorites, but then I just felt that because KKR played most of the game, I think a Charger that they were always going to have that head start, and I think my team put them into bat, and I think they restricted them to the ideal score to chase. Because anything over 140, I think you're always going to be in trouble. Though I would say 150 is ideal, but even 140, I think is very tricky.
Yeah, look, this has been the strength of KKR in the second half. Is their
Mm.
bowling,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I thought they bowled so well as a team.
Mm.
I mean, Narayan was a
Mm.
star in the last game. Then Chakravarti he bowled
Mm.
fabulous in this game
Mm.
as well. So the spinners
Yeah.
were actually sort of strangling the opposition. And,
Mm.
and yet again, Delhi, well, I thought, I think Delhi made one bad call in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Probably bringing in Stoinis. I thought Steve
Mm.
Smith was probably a better option because Steve
Mm.
Smith can
Mm.
probably play around the play. He's got more options as a batter. He can play all around the wicket. Bringing in Stoinis, who was undercooked and coming off an injury, I don't think it was a really good call from the Delhi management, and that
Mm.
ultimately cost them from getting a decent total. I personally think if they had got 150 plus, they were definitely in this game. And I mean, my oh my, it
Eh,
proved to be the case in that chase. I mean, absolute chaos, absolute chaos. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
uh,
man. That
the
would have been
openers were
worse if
superb.
Punjab took. Yeah, had KKR lost that match, I was thinking it would have been worse than Punjab's match. At least, I
Wow.
mean, that would have been worse, man. That would
I
have
mean,
been,
I mean,
yeah,
uh, I'm looking at this game and 96 for no loss. I mean,
yeah,
what a start from the openers. I mean, Aya has been quite a revelation for KKR, I think, in the second half. I think
yeah.
he's been superb up the order. And it's the young guns that are actually doing it for KKR. But I mean, looking at that middle order, which is it's a big underbelly for KKR. They don't seem to be there hasn't seemed to be any sort of form from any of those batsmen. And if I
Mm.
look at that middle order again, and I mean, you got to question this management. I mean, 96 for no loss.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Why would you be panicking? Why
Yeah,
should you be panicking? Why is there so much of panic setting in? I mean,
yeah,
full credit to the Delhi bowlers,
yeah.
especially Nokia and Rabani for bringing it
Mm.
back, and
Mm.
Ashwin to but
Mm.
uh, I mean, this was a pitch that was tailored for Ashwin, and I thought Ashwin, especially in the latter half, he was trying to bowl too defensive. He wasn't looking to take wickets.
Yeah,
It was only
yeah. He's
towards the
bowling
end
this real
where
round arm action. He's bowling this real round arm action. I'm like, what the hell? He's not bowling properly. You do realize that, right?
absolutely, absolutely, I agree. And look, credit to the Delhi bowlers for getting the game back to what it was. An absolute
Mm.
panic from KKR. I mean, from 96 for no loss. Then it was 106. I think it was 106 for two. To, I mean, look at it this way: you needed 13 of 25 deliveries, and
Yeah.
they just completely lost their way in that 16th over. It was 125 for six, 125 for. It was 125 for five, 125 for six, 125 for seven. I mean, absolute pandemonium towards the end there, and looking at it from this view, I mean, 6 of 2 deliveries, and Tripathi, I mean, that was a pressure hit. That was a
Yeah.
pressure hit from him to hit for
Yeah.
6, and I thought Ashwin bowled the ball that probably gave him that opportunity to hit that ball for 6. It was just looped up,
Hmm.
and it was the right sort of length as well, and he went after it. But I mean, I don't think they would have been very impressed at the way they finished that game, KKR. From the start they had. I mean,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
30, for 36 overs of this game, I mean,
Yeah.
KKR was superb. They were absolutely superb. It was just the last 4 overs which was horrendous,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Very bizarre. I mean, yeah, man. But at least I guess once you get over the line, you get over the line, and then you hope not to make any mistakes. Now we get to the grand final. It was a bit strange because I told you that if Kolkata won the toss and they put Chennai into bat and that they were going to chase it, that they would win it. But I felt that they conceded about 20 to 30 runs too many because I think if Kolkata middle order was performing, I would have fancied them to chase it. But I think, yeah, it's just not fair to have the top three doing all the work here. And it proved to happen, you know?
I mean, you talk about a top 3. I can only see a top 2 in this KKR lineup, and it proved the case again yesterday. I mean, a much better batting wicket.
Hmm.
I mean, CSK, they were superb with the bat. I mean, let's give them credit. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
the
yeah,
openers were superb. They hit the platform, and then
yeah.
Utapa. I mean, the way he played, that was superb. I mean, counter-attacking. That was counter-attacking its best.
Hmm.
And I mean,
Hmm.
Faf was absolutely sensational.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout the and ending on 85 odd not out. I think every every CSK batsman got in there and really made a good contribution to that total. Which are the halfway stage, I really thought was beyond KKR's reach, honestly.
Hmm.
But I mean, the way the openers came out and batted, especially Iyer again, I think that was
Hmm.
really really encouraging.
Hmm.
But in the back of my mind, I was looking at this game and I just thinking to myself, I mean, you get 1 wicket, you can easily get 2 or 3, and
Yeah.
that proved to be the case again. I mean, real question marks on the KKR middle order, right again. I mean,
Yeah.
you got senior players like Morgan, you got senior players
Yeah.
like Karthik.
Yeah.
They haven't scored a run in this tournament, and
Yeah.
yet again, it proved to be the case. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it was a strange game, to be honest, yesterday, because after 10 overs, KKR were well and truly in it, and it
Hmm.
just all fell apart again. And
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
say some poor shots there as well, especially. Look, I mean, I've been praising Aya a lot, but I think KKR would probably have wanted him to take this deep, because I think if they took this deep, they were
Hmm.
really, really in with it, because the dew was really bad yesterday for the
Hmm.
bowlers. It was the ball was really getting wet, and it was unfortunate they couldn't take it deep. And look, they just lost wickets in humps yesterday. Yet
Hmm.
again, uh,
Hmm.
Morgan gave you nothing. Karthik gave you nothing. Rana, that was a shocking, uh, you know, uh, that was a shocking shot selection of the first ball. Really, really. I mean, you just needed somebody to just play a sensible innings there, and they never got it. I think it was just too much, sort of, go there and hit it, sort of thing. But T20 cricket is still cricket.
Hmm.
There is still a need for an anchor that can anchor
Hmm.
innings and take the home.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look at Faf. I mean, Faf played it beautifully yesterday. He anchored that
Hmm.
entire innings, and he made it. his mission to stay there towards the end, because if he stayed there towards the end, he knew that CSK would get to 180, 190, which would be quite an imposing total. And I just felt there was nobody that KKR yesterday that wanted to play that hard yards, take it deep. Because if they took it deep, I mean, CSK would have really been, I think, struggling towards the end there. But I guess, I guess for the neutral, it was probably, it was a predictable result. I mean, CSK, I mean, they've come up beautifully, and I think deservedly winners in the end. We talk about time, and SD is the master tactician, and yet again he's proved it with the squad that he has. I guess a team that doesn't really make too many changes, they stick to a formula, and that formula works for them. So I think KKR will probably be very disappointed with their batting in this tournament. Not necessarily their bowling, because their bowling has got them to the final. But the batting, I mean, geez, it has a lot to be desired. Eh? It really, really has a lot to be desired. I mean, if you take out those two openers, it really, there wasn't much after that.
Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, I guess if you look at all-round effort, I guess Chennai deserved to win, because you can't win a match just based on two players mainly, 2 to 3, whatever. It just wouldn't have made sense, even though I would have been happy with my team winning, but it would have just been really much bizarre, I think. Not bizarre, I would have been happy, but obviously, I don't know, just one of those things. Yeah, I want to get to you regarding your team, because I was thinking about this whole situation. Remember that Sunrisers game? And I was saying that had you all won that match, you all would have been in the top 2, and then you all would have had 2 stabs at it actually making it to the finals, and then it would have been an interesting dynamic, if you know what I mean. But then who would have known what the actual result would have been? Because I think Chennai would have played, I think, my team, and then who knows what would have happened, So maybe results could have been the same. It's just 50-50,
Yeah, look, I mean, CSK, I mean, RCB, they haven't had the worst season. It's actually been quite a good season.
Of course,
I think for the most part.
Yeah.
I think the big weakness for RCB this season, I think, has been the form of AB. I think he hasn't come to the party at all this season. Towards the second half of the season, I think that came into. I think he's a sort of player that I think the first half of the season he was in great form, and that break didn't really help him that much. It helped other players that were struggling. I would think that probably re-energized them a bit, but it didn't work the same for AB. And I mean, he's a great player, and he's definitely going to come back stronger. We certain of that. I think the other weakness from RCB has been the way they've been able to adapt on certain surfaces. Because if I look at the way they played in Dubai, I think they were excellent in Dubai. They won all their matches in Dubai. Where they have struggled is in Abu Dhabi and Sharjah. They really struggled in Sharjah. So I think their adaptability on surfaces really cost them a place in the final of the IPL. And anything was possible. I mean, you get to a final, anything is possible. So I think you look at CSK, deserved champions in the end, because they've been able to adapt their game on all surfaces. They haven't played well on just one surface. They've been able to play well on all surfaces. So I think you got to have the personnel to actually do that. And if you've got players that are out of form, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
So I mean, MSD, I mean, he knew very well. I mean, you get to 18 points. I mean, the pressure is on the third team on the log to get those points. And I think RCB they just couldn't handle that pressure towards the end, where they needed to win that game against Sunrisers. And if they won that game against Sunrisers, they would have put pressure on CSK to win their final game. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of mind games that were being thrown out there, and it was a crucial game for RCB to win against Sunrisers, because I mean, we all saw what happened in that last game against DC, because had they won that game, they would have been on 20 points. And they would have probably given them an easier chance, easier part of the final. But, it is what it is. So, I mean, getting back to the bowling, I thought the bowling was excellent this season for RCB. No doubt about it. The bowling was excellent. I thought the batting at times was a lot to be desired. I think Maxwell really carried the team. That he has an excellent season. But I think, I was so impressed about this bowler, and I spoke about him in the last segment. I mean, Harsha, he was superb in this tournament, and deservedly so. Player of the tournament. I thought he just took his game to another level in this tournament, and he's really going to be one of those players to watch out in come the next season. So I think RCB they're looking good. I think they found that a formula that can work for them. It's just about getting the balance right, and I think the most important thing is getting a captain now, finding a new captain for this franchise moving forward. So
I have a theory though on the cap. Yeah, I have a theory of who could captain your team, but I don't know if Sunrisers are gonna keep him or drop him. I have a theory that if they drop David Warner from their team and your team go for David Warner in the auction and David Warner captains you, I was thinking about your batting lineup. Imagine David Warner and Kohli open the batting. Wow, that's quite an opening partnership. And then imagine
that's quite an
imposing
kind of
thinking.
That's an amazing partnership. And I mean, look at David Warner's situation with Sunrise. It's quite uncertain at the moment. We're not really sure because I think Warner has, the franchise in a way has just lost faith with him, and he himself has, I don't know, to an extent, he really wants to see if he can find a new challenge in the next season. So yeah, definitely. I mean, David Warner is not a bad move. The other move that I was actually thinking about is probably an easier one, because he's Indian as well. KL Rahul.
Yeah, that's if Punjab don't keep him. Yeah, I mean it would be a bit sad if Punjab don't keep him because he batted really well. But I guess I think KL Rahul probably wouldn't mind captaining RCB considering there's so much more talent to work with. So I guess
I'm sure Punjab would want to keep their star player, no doubt about it. But I feel in a way he actually wants to leave at the moment. I think he's looking for another challenge. Yeah, absolutely. Look for something a lot easier. I think it's definitely going to be on the player as such, because I mean you don't want an unhappy player in the franchise. At the end of the day, you don't want an unhappy player in the franchise. So and another option could be Josh Butler, because.
Michael Vaughan had mentioned about him. Yeah, Michael Vaughan had spoken about Josh Butler. Yeah, that could be
so
fun,
those would probably be my three. Those would probably be my three options that would be vying for that captaincy. Those are very strong leaders. So I mean, I don't see any reason why it's not possible.
Yeah. My only issue was, I mean, as much as I would like to see David Warner captaining your team, I don't know how he and Kohli would get along. I don't know how close those two are. But I think if they get along, then I think your team would be definitely very much one to be feared. Because I think David Warner would have something he would want to be proved. When you have a guy that wants to prove something, to become very dangerous. So I would probably fancy your team very much if David Warner captains you all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, same here. I think Warner is quite an electric cricketer, and we all know what he brings to the team. So it's going to be exciting times. But I think there's a few players that need to be retained in order for RCB to be a force next season. I think.
Okay. All right.
Look, I know there have been question marks on AB's form. And I know Brian Lara made a very controversial comment the other day that, why should they keep a guy like AB that's really out of form? But, I take it into context because, he hasn't played much cricket for the last 6 months. You don't expect him to be at his best.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't expect him.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think on our last segment, ICC T20 World Cup. I think tomorrow will be the qualifiers playing, and I fancy teams like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Ireland, and whoever else to qualify through those groups there. It's pretty much what I feel is going to happen. I would be very surprised if any of those teams don't really. I think there's two that qualify out of those two respective groups. So that's what I feel in a nutshell. What do you think?
Yeah, we've just watched the dress rehearsal, which was the IPL. Now it's time for the business end. This is the major tournament that everybody's been waiting for, is the World T20. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. Look, Bangladesh definitely would fancy their chances getting out of
Yeah.
that qualifier. And I think a team like Ireland as well. I think they've played quite well leading
Mm.
up to this tournament, so they would be a side to watch as well. Look, Sri
Yeah.
Lanka. I they probably one of the more experienced teams in that qualifier, so I think they
Yeah.
would
Very
be really,
bizarre to see
really
them there.
big fight. So yeah, I mean, but you really can't take anything for granted in T20.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to talk about the group stage of this tournament.
Mm.
I mean,
Mm.
really exciting groups. I mean,
Yeah.
if I look at Group A, you've got SA, you've got Australia, you've got England, you've got West Indies, and then Group B, you've got India, Pakistan, New Zealand, Afghanistan. I mean, really, I definitely say Group A is a group of deaths because I mean, you've got
Mm. Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
got any of those top contenders can make it
Yeah.
to the playoffs. And I mean, I don't want to discount the qualifiers. I
Of
don't want to
course. Yeah.
discount the qualifiers as well because anything is possible in T20s. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's really a group that's really really eye catching as well.
Yeah, I think Australia's playing on good pitches, and if Maxwell's in form, yeah, my only fear that should Australia start winning in that group, then you could have a situation where they'll make semi-finals and anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Look, I think Australia has got question marks in terms of how they play spin bowling. I think leading up to
Yeah.
the World Cup, they were not too good against spin, not too smart against spinners. So I think a
Yeah.
team that plays against them, they'll probably be smart there and probably want to try
Hmm.
three spinners. And I don't think it's a better option to play three spinners. So I mean,
Hmm.
look at that opening fixture versus Australia. I mean, that's a huge fixture next week.
Yeah,
That's a massive one.
we must win. We must
And
win that for our confidence. Yeah, we must win that for our confidence.
absolutely, I mean, it's a must-win for both. But looking at it, I think SA would probably want to play three spinners on that on the against Australia, and I think that would be a good option. So
Where are
look,
we playing?
spinners are.
Sharjah? Oh, are we playing in the dreaded
Uh,
Sharjah?
it's Abu Dhabi. I think it's Abu Dhabi.
Oh, Australia would love that.
Yeah. Uh, I think it'd be a good option to play three spinners. So it's only a question mark on who actually plays. But I'll give you a theory. I can really pick two spinners that will be playing that game. And it's definitely going to be Shamsi and it's probably going to be Keshav, those two.
Yeah,
And then there's going to
yeah.
be a question mark on probably beyond 14 or Linda. But honestly speaking, I would play Linda because I think Linda offers something with the bat as well.
Hmm.
So I would play Linda on ahead of 14 in that opening fixture.
Yeah, I think to beat Australia, I think we should probably bat first and then bowl at them. I don't fancy us chasing, but then who knows? I think we
Yeah,
feel good at chasing, but then I don't know why. I'm just feeling that maybe it's probably better just to bat first and then bowl well at them. But then you
I
never
definitely
know.
think that chasing is going to be difficult. I definitely think chasing is going
Yeah.
to be difficult on pitches like
Hmm.
Sharjah and Abu Dhabi. I think where chasing is probably going to be much easier, and it's going to be probably an even wicket is Dubai, which is the next fixture uh,
Hmm.
between the Windies and England, which I think is also a massive game.
I
And
hope it's
I mean that one could go either way. I know there's power plays on both teams, but
yeah.
look at the Windies. I think their side as well.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
think they
okay.
just got to get. I think there's a few windy storm, and it's going to be a massive game. It's really going to be a massive game for both
Yeah.
sides. So
Oh, no, but if they're playing in Dubai, it might suit England because the pitch is very much fair. So that's how it goes. But
absolutely,
then,
I think it evens up in Dubai. I think it evens up in Dubai for both teams. So look,
hmm,
Abu Dhabi and Sharjah definitely in favor of the bowling side.
hmm.
Uh, but Abu Dhabi, it's a little bit more 50-50.
Okay. I think, oh yeah, then I think another cracker jacker match, I think it's India and Pakistan. I think India will probably win that, but as usual, Pakistan will try and give a good account of themselves.
That's definitely the fixture of the group stage. Absolutely. I mean, this is a rivalry that goes back years, and it's a fierce rivalry, and probably the biggest rivalry in cricket. India and Pakistan. Look, I think Pakistan is coming to this game with a lot of good form,
Hmm,
so they really can't be taken lightly at
hmm.
all. And I think India have got to be smart here. They've got to play. They've got to play the conditions. They've got to play the conditions because
Yeah,
Pakistan have a lot of T20 specialists in their side as well. I know they
yeah.
haven't played much cricket recently, but I think it's sort of format where they always excel in. So
Hmm.
I mean, good luck trying to call this one. I mean, India, I think they've had the wood over Pakistan in tournaments,
Yeah.
so we'll definitely
I
go in as
actually,
favorites.
yeah.
You really can't discount Pakistan. I mean, I'm looking at reports in the media about Baba Azam, and he's trying to he's trying to put a good fight there leading up to this game. But I guess you got to pack the punch on the day as well.
Yeah. I mean, he has to
You got
say
to pack
that.
the
I mean, he
punch on the
can't
day.
like say, I mean, he has to say stuff like that. I mean, I won't crucify him for it. But yeah, I mean, one thing I am kind of worried about is India and New Zealand. New Zealand seem to have India's number man in World Cup. So what I'm hoping for is that if that Pakistan kind of do India a favor because if New Zealand do beat India, then I'm hoping that Pakistan beats New Zealand, and then it makes it easier for India to qualify through. Otherwise, if India can beat New Zealand, then it becomes I don't really give it continental what happened between those two nations. Just that, yeah, man. I'm just hoping that
Yeah, I mean, look, New Zealand are a street smart team. New Zealand are a street smart team, and they really
yeah,
can't be discounted at all.
that's the
So,
problem.
I mean, it's I guess this is probably a group that's easier to predict as to who's going to qualify. I think it's
Mm,
probably three teams that are probably vying for this top
yeah,
two positions in yeah. India, Pakistan, New Zealand. I mean,
yeah.
Afghanistan, you really can't underestimate them. I mean, we know what they bring to the T20 format. Look, if Afghanistan cause a few surprises, then it's really going to get interesting. It's really going to get interesting.
Yeah, I
So, I
could see
mean, you really can't discount
Afghanistan.
anything. But,
I could, yeah. By the way, I'm having a theory of how teams should utilize their players. If the teams are doing well during the group stages, they should really test out their bench strength, especially against the associate nations. And that's not to disrespect them; it's just to have a feel of how these backup players are, because you don't want a situation where they haven't been used and when a player gets injured, then so, for example, if we are doing well in the competition and we have a few matches whereby we know we can win one of those, and we're playing against associate, I'm sure you could test out a few players. You know,
I always say you can, but I guess you got to be in a good position as well. I think you got to
of
take
course, that's what I'm
you got to get
saying.
as
Yeah,
much points as possible.
yeah,
I think if your team is in a good position by the time you play the associate teams, then it's not
yeah,
a bad option to play to try your bench strength. But I think if you're really trying to push for points, it's
no,
very
no, no,
important to
obviously,
play your best side.
we have to. Also, net run rate
We
played a
know
part.
it's
Yeah, a net run
yeah,
rate will play a
absolutely.
part.
Uh,
Mm,
Look, these opening games are massive games, so I think it's going to be difficult.
mm,
Uh, and both teams would either team would want to get points off each other, and it's a World Cup, so uh, the better you start, I think it's going to be easier for you to qualify in the end instead of going to games where it's must win. So I think if you win your first game, you really like give yourself that breathing space in a way where you can go and play a little freely, you know?
Hmm. Actually, I'm just thinking now, for the group one, for group A, let's make a prediction. So I'm gonna predict, just to be crazy about it. I mean, logic would say probably England and West Indies, but I want to change this up now because I would have thought England, but I think the conditions may not favor them because it may be a bit too low and slow. And think so. Let's just make this interesting. Let's make it West Indies and let's be patriotic. Let's say West Indies and South Africa. And then for the group B, I'll say India and Pakistan, and then from there, I'll say India to win the World Cup. You?
Look, I really fancy SA in this group stage. Really, I really do. I think there's enough games that they can get points off, and I
Mm,
guess it's just about beating West Indies and England. I would think,
mm,
and if they win those two games, the first two games, I mean, boy, that would
mm,
put them in good stead. And you literally, I think if you win your opening two games, you literally guaranteed a spot in the knockouts. So
mm.
uh, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, and uh, I'm gonna go for Australia and SA, and I'll tell you
Okay,
why. I think there's a few Windies players that are out of form leading up into this
okay,
World Cup. Guys like Pollard, guys like Puran,
okay.
Gale hasn't had much game time as well.
Yeah,
I think that's really gonna hamper them towards the end.
okay.
England, I think England are going to be disturbed a bit by Stokes not being in the side. I think that's
And
going to
Jofra
disrupt
Archer's not
the
there.
sort of I think that's going to disrupt
Yeah,
their momentum in the tournament. And
yeah,
I mean we in 2019 World Cup when
yeah.
AB announced his retirement and what an effect it had at that squad. It had a I mean it had such a major effect on the team throughout that World Cup that they couldn't find any confidence going. So I think England are in that situation as well. That missing such a big play in Stokes,
Mm,
and I feel a few of those players are a bit undercooked at the moment. They haven't had
mm.
much game time, so I think SA is a good bet. And Group E, um, I definitely go India and Pakistan. New Zealand, I think they've shown their frailties against spinning tracks in the subcontinent already, especially in Bangladesh. So I think those two teams are good spinning options. And yeah, I mean, barring no surprises, I think India and Pakistan should qualify from that group.
And
So those are mine.
who is your winner for the T20 World Cup?
Yeah, geez, it's going to be a tough one. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's too early to call, Sid. I mean, I can give you those predictions now of who's going to qualify, who's going to semi-final, but I think it's too early to call a winner. I think it's too early, too premature. I,
I
th- I
thought
think
you were
all
going to be
teams have
patriotic.
weak.
I thought you were going to be
Look,
patriotic
I
and
can
say
be
South Africa was going to win.
all teams have weaknesses, and I think
Yeah,
you
of
you
course.
picked on India being the front runners and winning the World Cup, but I think the biggest weakness is the captain. I think India's biggest weakness is the captaincy of Kohli.
I think Kohli's got something to prove because I think it must have hurt him that his team didn't really, make it to the final of the IPL. So I
I,
think he
I,
might want to also, I think he might want to end off on a good note, because he won't captain anymore for
I,
T20
I,
World Cup.
yeah, but I think you've seen this a lot from Kohli in tournaments where you've just fallen short. And you'll see this time and time again in major tournaments. So,
Yeah.
look,
But then you see, Dhoni's there to mentor them, so I think they might get over the line this time. Dhoni's there to mentor them, so I think that works in their favor. Otherwise, yeah, it might
look,
have been a bit. Yeah.
look. I guess having a mentor is good, but I think if MSD was on the field, I think it would have been a whole lot better. So I think that in a way it gives other teams a
Yeah.
breathing space. So I think I'll hold my winner back for now, but those are my top
Oh,
four.
so So I can't
semi-final.
squeeze.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say South Africa out of loyalty to win.
No, I think it's too early to call a winner. I think it's too early to call a winner at
Okay.
the moment.
Yeah, I know. I know it's
Yeah.
early to call, but I'm just having a bit of fun. So let's say if you were to pick one for fun, just for fun, nothing serious. Like who would you just pick for fun to win? Just for fun. Like I'm not gonna
Uh,
crucify you. Yeah.
Look, it could be. It's a difficult one. It could be between Pakistan and SA. Definitely.
Okay. Fine. I'll hold you to that then. I'm really kidding. All right. I think that's pretty much a wrap. Unless you got any final words.
Yeah, I think we're talking about Faf. I mean, he's been in superb form, but unfortunately couldn't find a spot in this T20 World Cup squad. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess you know it's a tough call because I mean, who do you drop? There's so many up and coming youngsters. I think this is a
Mm,
time for him now to just sit back and
unless
rebuild.
you drop the captain of South Africa, Bavuma, then yeah, then you can bring Faf in. But then they'll never do that. So I guess yeah. I'm only
Yeah, I
joking.
think, but I mean,
Yeah.
I think he was earned his
Time.
place. I think
Yeah.
as well. I think
It's okay. I think.
there's
Yeah.
something about his captaincy that I like. I think he's quite
Hmm.
cool on the field. He doesn't get flustered. So I think that's very important to as a captain to not lose your cool because you see it a lot of times with some captains. So I think you need
Yeah.
to be cool and on the field and just go about the process. So I think that holds him in good stead as a captain. You just got to be contributing with the bat a little bit more as well.
Yeah, man. I guess that, yeah. Until then, we shall enjoy the T20 World Cup and we shall catch up soon.
Yes, absolutely. Cheers. Chat to you
Thank
soon.
you, man.